remember that they're changing my voice because of what is exactly going on these days, right? These days, 2025. Let me tell you why hate speech should be allowed. First of all, I don't think that people should say racist things to people, right? Without reason, just to be a jerk, just to uphold white supremacy, or maybe you're a black supremacist, you just don't like the other races. You know, the Lord weighs the motives. Okay? However, I don't think that AI can really distinguish between someone like me who's being targeted by the masses of white people from every type of group you can imagine, right? Skaters, bikers, every type of group you can imagine, right? The military, the police, okay? Their social clubs, their political groups, whitewash people. And then any token minority, that's gonna be any thugs they hire, and everyone else they can hire, right? And it's coming from white and Jewish people and LGBT people first and foremost for the purpose of trying to elevate their groups. So now, why should I be allowed to call them names as groups? Okay? Now, for the sake of the rules on YouTube, we'll say whether or not I should be, what are the arguments you can make that I should be allowed to call them names in this particular case? Well, let's look at it in terms of the military. Let's say the Chinese military was in America. Their Air Force, right? Let's say their Army. Say they have some kind of Chinese Marines, right? I don't know what they call them there. Well, say the Chinese Marines, or what kind of factions they have. If their president said to you and to America, only fire back at the Chinese version of the Marines, and not their Air Force, not their Navy, or whatever they call those things, how many of you think that would be reasonable? That would be fucking unreasonable. They're basically saying give them some kind of privileged status and blame the other factions they might not even like. Let's say it was, the Army blaming the, Marines. That is dumb. If you're concerned with justice and you're really a moral person, you should fire back at all of them as it is strategic, as it is logical, as it makes sense, as it does God justice. Pretty straightforward. And so it is with these people who are trying to contend with God by contending with me. We see that in Psalm 35, where it says, contend with those who are contending with me. So what you have here is a very simple idea. Respect is earned. When your group persecutes me for white supremacy, for Jewish supremacy, for LGBT supremacy, are they earning respect for their group? Is it fair for them to say, hey, we're gonna all kind of get together like the Klan, like the whole town or something, and we're gonna persecute you, and we want you to only blame the most disenfranchised of us, or pick a faction of the rich and blame that faction and not the other faction as part of a game? That is fucking retarded. To play that game is to accept the boundaries of white supremacy. White supremacy is the practice of making sure that people are being treated unfairly by the white system. And it also involves making sure white people are helping you do it. They used to say things like, you act like the N-word, you get treated like the N-word. Why? Because they got them all involved. I can say with certainty that with very few exceptions, if any, with my mother being blameless, she's white, very few exceptions, if any. And she's blamed because she brought me into this world, mind you. That white supremacy is alive and well today, and everybody who doesn't obey God through me is contributing to it to some degree, but we also have to judge people according to their benefits. For example, if a bunch of pirates raped your daughter, okay, and one of them kept her in the basement for another month and kept raping her, are they all guilty to the same degree? No. Would a court of law see it that way? No. You have to judge them according to their deeds and how much they're benefiting, how much they're seeking to benefit. If you are white by default, you benefit from white supremacy in a way that's, counterproductive, mind you, but in a sense you benefit more than people who aren't white, almost across the board, right? It's like a spectrum. So say you're Obama, right? In a sense, he's benefiting more than a homeless white person. But in other senses, not quite the case, because the spirit of white people that homeless white person is also in, because he didn't do what it takes to separate himself from that by obeying God through me. He's he's also in that spirit. And they're seeking to benefit it in terms of spirit. Now, for those of you who don't believe in a spirit because you're a fucking idiot, what do you call a school spirit? What do you call being in low spirits? And being in high spirits? So you're the type of people who say, hey, he's in high spirits today, but you don't believe in fucking spirits? It's fucking retarded. Anyone who's done their research into it knows that the word spirit is a valid word. It's trying to describe something. Now, you might not believe that spirit is the spirit of the devil or the spirit of God or the spirit of this or that, but that word is an attempt to describe something, a way about somebody. In essence, okay, their movement, their energy, their actions, their prevailing tendency, their dominant characteristic. It's trying to describe something. Now, how deep does that something go? So the principles of the idea of a white spirit is something that they're trying to benefit in a way that is unholy and sick and counterproductive and brings them way down and brings their spirit down. But that's what they're doing it for. In other words, if one person in the Klan was like, look, they had a big meeting, and they said, let's go and harass this black person over there and tell him to blame just one faction of people. That way, there's some people who are flogging him with impunity, so to speak, right? Who are psychologically giving him a flogging, like they used to do on the plantation, okay? Flogging him to uphold that plantation. Yeah, that is some bitch shit. No serious warrior of any race can respect that. Bitch-ass motherfuckers who work out, maybe, but not a serious warrior of any race. So it is counterproductive. It is beta as fuck. I'm the king of kings. I'm the main expert on what spiritual authority is, what masculine authority is, what true authority. I can tell you that spirit that they're in is on some bitch fucking shit. It's laughable. It's pathetic. I trample it more than like any spirit. The spirit of racists, whites, Jews, and LGBT, and anyone rolling with them, I trample regularly and with a prejudice and with a profound and divine skywalking stomp. Thank you.